Sorry, I kind of just made the tier list without consulting you. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to like have all the little set logos here at the bottom, and then I'm supposed to place them like one by one into their respective tier and like talk through each one. But I already built the tier list. This is it. I thought about it and I built it. And this is it. I'm sorry. It's already built. This is what it looks like. But we can still talk through each and every selection and why I placed them where I did. But first, what is the criteria for this tier list? It's overall like how I think the long-term value of these sets will settle. I placed them based upon long-term value. This is my own opinion, but it's also based loosely on some data that I saw in a Danny Phantom video. Excellent video. It's titled When Pokemon Decided to Change Everything. And it's about pull rates changing after just a few sets in Scarlet and Violet block. And Danny here claims that he has opened over 2,000 packs of every set so far in Scarlet and Violet block. That's over 50 boxes of each set. So he's got a whole bunch of data on the pull rates for each Scarlet and Violet set, and he has compiled it here for us. So I found this to be incredibly informative, and it made me realize that I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to the values of these Scarlet and Violet cards. And I'm just as bad as everyone else, just like throwing my opinion out there, just totally unfounded, just based on nothing other than my own personal feelings. So I wanted to just correct a bit of that and also bring to light Danny's excellent video here and talk about it a little bit, use some of his data, and construct my own tier list here. So let's just start at the beginning of the block and go through the block, I guess. So Scarlet and Violet, base. I put it in C tier. Why? Because according to Danny's data here, pull rates are pretty easy. If we look at special illustration rares here, what this is saying is that you have to open 270 packs to hit any given special illustration rare. So, for example, if we want Miriam, we should expect to open her within 270 packs on average, statistically, according to Danny's data. But then, like, why did I put it in C tier? Why are easy pull rates bad? Basically, they literally mean that more cards are in circulation, and thus the set is just going to be worth less because there's more of the hits floating around out in the world for people to buy. More people have opened them, more people are selling them, there's just more inventory. It's a less valuable set by default. So overall, Scarlet and Violet base, decent set. You've got Miriam, really beautiful card, but it turns out really, really easy to hit. And like Danny says in his video, Miriam was like $200 when the set first came out because people thought that this card was like giga rare, but turns out it was not. It was quite easy to hit. It's also got a Gardevoir. This card just like obliterated the tournament meta, so this is a highly playable card, but it has several printings. So overall, Scarlet and Violet base, decent set, got some cool cards, but the pull rates are quite easy. The second set in Scarlet and Violet block was Paldea Evolved. And if we take a look at Danny's data again here, we can see that illustration rares became significantly harder to hit. Now it takes 432 packs to hit any given single illustration rare. That could explain why Magikarp is so darn expensive, because he's like legitimately hard to hit. Yes, beautiful card, goated artist, we all love the card, but it's like, it's just an IR. Why is it more expensive than the SIR that's sparkly and textured and feels like it's more rare? Because actually the SIR is not more rare. If we look at Danny's data again, takes 432 packs to hit any given IR in Paldea Evolved. It only takes 405 packs to hit any special illustration rare, such as the Iono. So the Magikarp is quite literally rarer than the Iono. Pretty crazy. So I put Paldea Evolved in the A tier because obviously it has found some early success in the block. It's already the most expensive booster box you can buy in the block so far. And it's been out for a while, and people have been kind of like buying it out. But I don't think it's really the best set of the block. I actually think that Temporal Forces and Paradox Rift are better sets than Paldea Evolved. Yeah, the Magikarp's sick. Yeah, the Iono's sick. But I think right now it's actually a little bit overrated. Also, we can see Paldea Evolved SIR rate is 405 packs. Look at these down here, into the 700s. That is insane. So once we got down here, I'm just jumping ahead, but special illustration rares became drastically harder to hit in Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, and Twilight Masquerade. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. If we stay in order and we look at Obsidian Flames, the set sucks, man. It's all about this Charizard. That's pretty much the only card people care about. This Pidgeot is tournament playable. I mean, it's like competitive. It's a competitive staple, kind of. Or it has been recently. People do like this Ninetales IR, but the set is pretty much just about the Charizard. But you can get this Charizard as low as $25. So he's really just not holding value. And this set is overall terrible. It's by far the worst in the block. Number one, because it's pretty much just a Charizard set. And number two, because that Charizard is so easy to hit. The SIRs, the amount of packs you need to open to get a given SIR, is the lowest of any set in the Scarlet and Violet block. It has the easiest pull rates for both illustration rares and special illustration rares. That combo of just not having that many desirable cards and the only desirable cards in the set being super easy to pull makes this set just like utter dog shit. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And after Obsidian Flames, 151 came out, and everyone knows that's just a goated set. It's just insane. There's so many awesome cards. Almost every single SIR is awesome and desirable. There's also a whole bunch of IRs that are really great. So even though Danny here is showing us that the pull rates are really quite easy, the set is just so good that it doesn't matter. It's going to stand the test of time. It's going to be valuable no matter how easy the pull rates are. I'd almost argue that for 151, like, easy pull rates are almost even better because it just makes opening this set like feel awesome. And this set is going to be S tier no matter what. There's just no question. So we don't even have to spend too much time on 151. I feel like these easy pull rates like almost don't apply to it. It's like immune. It's too good. The next set in the block was Paradox Rift, and I put it at S tier because this is where things took another big turn and where Pokemon really decided to switch things up. Danny's showing us here that to hit a given illustration rare in Paradox Rift, it takes 442 packs. That is far and away the hardest pull rate for illustration rares of any of the sets. I mean, it's only slightly higher than Paldea Evolved, but as we know, look at this IR Magikarp, really expensive. So Paradox Rift, even harder to hit the IRs. And if we take a look at the cards, we can kind of see this in Groudon. It's pretty expensive. This is reflective of a card that's really hard to hit. Iron Hands, competitive staple. Here's an IR. This card is also quite rare. This is, according to Danny's data, slightly harder to hit than the Magikarp in Paldea Evolved. And then you've got Roaring Moon, which is just a super sick SIR. And in Paradox Rift, it takes 705 packs to hit a given SIR. So compared to the sets up to Paradox Rift, just orders of magnitude harder to hit a given SIR in this set than in these sets. Pull rates are way freaking harder in Paradox Rift. So we're talking about cards like Parasol Lady being just way far and away more rare than Miriam. Miriam is so much easier to pull compared to Parasol Lady as far as Danny's data goes. So overall, pretty great set and really tough pull rates. And again, tough pull rates just means that there are less of these cards in circulation. There are less Parasol Ladies, and over time, they're going to be more expensive. And what happens when the singles are more expensive? The booster boxes are more expensive. So that's why I put Paradox Rift in S tier. Next set that came out was Paldean Fates, and I think this is like overall a pretty good set. I just think that Pokemon has kind of diluted these special sets a little bit. This is like the third Fates set after Hidden Fates and Shining Fates. And so we've gotten like a lot of shiny Pokemon, and it's just like, overall, I feel like some of these Fates sets are losing their luster just a little bit. And I feel like in the sands of time, these are going to be like kind of just confused with one another a little bit. But that being said, if we look at the pull rates, Paldean Fates, special illustration rares are of like middling difficulty to pull. They're not super hard to pull, they're not super easy to pull, but the SIRs that are in the set are pretty darn good. This Charizard is pretty epic, people seem to really like it. Bubble Mew is just an incredible card. Like, this makes the entire set. Even if there was nothing in the entire rest of the set would still be pretty decent just because of Bubble Mew. Plus, you've got a shiny Pikachu, you've got a shiny Snorlax, Charmander, you've got the Iono. Even though this is a reprint, it's still different art. It's very cool. So this is like a pretty like great set, and long term, I think it's going to do like pretty well. So pull rates, not that hard, but some pretty excellent cards that you want. Long-term value of this set, I expect it to fall somewhere in the middle of the block. It'll do fine, but I definitely don't think it's going to be one of the best sets of the whole block. So after Paldean Fates, we got Temporal Forces, and as you can see, I put that up here in S tier as well. Looking back at Danny's data again, Temporal Forces, good lord, at that special illustration rare pull rate. That is abysmal. It is so freaking hard to get a given special illustration rare in Temporal Forces, man. It's really freaking hard. From Paradox Rift, they lowered the difficulty of pulling IRs. So IRs are a little easier to get again, but now SIRs are super freaking ridiculously scarce. So if we look at Temporal Forces here, we can also see that this set is just stacked with like insanely desirable SIRs. For one, Raging Bolt is like a really strong, powerful card that is like starting to see competitive play. And it's holding tough. The set is new, so these prices are pretty good for a set that is now like, where it should almost be the cheapest. These prices are holding really well, and in my opinion, that's a testament to how rare they are. You got the Raging Bolt that's like a really strong card competitively. Iron Crown is just like really epic artwork. You got the Walking Wake that's cool, Iron Leaves, Gouging Fire, you know the rest. Then we've also got Morty's Conviction with the Gengar front and center. Super sick full art supporter here. Bianca's Devotion, really cute, cool full art supporter. Got the Airy that's like, overall the set is just sick. Like, it's a really cool set. And then you do have the Ghastly IR, which I think this was really expensive at one point. It looks like it's corrected itself. And that almost makes sense when you look at the data, because the IR pull rates are not that hard in Temporal Forces. So really that Ghastly was like dastardly overpriced for a while. But yeah, overall Temporal Forces is just like a super epic set with all these like ancient and future legendaries. Plus the SIRs are super hard to hit. So I'm pretty sure the Temporal Forces is like an easy S tier set long term. And now our most recent set that just came out is Twilight Masquerade. Again, I'm giving it an S tier because, again, the IRs are not that hard to hit right now. But very similarly to Temporal Forces, the special illustration rares are goated. They're super hard to get, which means there are fewer of them, which means super valuable. And if we take a look at Twilight Masquerade, the set just came out, but this Greninja is super, super expensive. Carmine, just waifu city. She's super cute. She's eating some tasty food. Everyone wants to hang out with her. Nobody can. She's nowhere to be found. She's hard to get at, you guys. So, Perrin, same deal. Pretty expensive, really holding her value. Buddy Buddy Poffin, great competitive staple. Cool gold card. People want this for their decks. Really freaking expensive. And if we look at the hyper rares, it's a hyper rare. Really, really hard to pull. The hardest after Temporal Forces, which I didn't even mention because I was so stuck on the special illustration rares. But Temporal Forces hyper rares are also like crazy hard to get. Anyways, so many people were crapping on this set like after it was revealed, but before it released, people were like, oh, it sucks, it's lame. And it turns out they were totally wrong. Like, this set is super good. The hits are really awesome and desirable. People really want them, and they're really hard to get. There just aren't going to be like enough to go around at this point, right now. Take all of this with a grain of salt, because things could still change. Pokemon could like tweak the pull rates and then reprint a bunch with tweaked pull rates to put a bunch more of these cards in circulation. That could happen, and then they all get super cheap. But currently, as it stands, according to Danny's data, the SIRs in these sets are super, super hard to get. I sound like a broken record. I'm sorry. This video went way too long. I'm going to wrap it up, but that is my overall tier list based on Danny's data. I'll leave the link to his video down below. You should watch it in full because it was a really good video, and he probably explained it a lot better than I have done here. But I just wanted to highlight it and show it some love because to me it was so illuminating, and it made me realize what a dummy I was and how much I really didn't understand what was actually underlying the Scarlet and Violet market. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.